Good morning. My name is Artur Ottlik. I'm with Siemens, and I'm also the co-chair of the System Management Subcommittee. So, version 1 has been finalized during this last year. And just to recap real quick, so what was version 1 all about? It was about selecting redfish from DMTF as standard for system management. So redfish is a standard that is already used in server management. So for example, HP and Dell will ship servers where you have redfish already installed on a baseboard management controller. This is basically an additional controller on the main board to turn on, off, and monitor the main server itself. So this is already there from such vendors, and it's a RESTful interface, very IT standard, very IT driven, and it also has an extendable interface. So in version 2, what we did is that we extended it with more OT domain specific information. And so we came up with the new profile OSM3. And in that profile, we provide more specific information. So for example, we provide information first about the operating system, processes running, etc. And this part is a little bit generic. So we are also in talks with DMTF, and they said that they may take some of the parts and make it part of their standard. But then we also added parts about the DCN, so the distributed control node itself. And that can be information, for example, about the DCN version, about product ratings like min temperatures, max temperatures, but it can also be about available I/O on the device itself. And then we also added information about the execution engine. And that is, for example, also the version and the type of the execution engine can be queried through a redfish interface, but also dynamic information, like, for example, cycle times of functions, and also the CPU load or memory load of the execution engine. So when it comes to deployment, as I said before, like in the server management, in the IT world, classically they deploy the redfish agent on a separate BMC or baseboard management controller. For us, especially since with the extension that we did in version 2, we need dynamic information, so in-band information. So this is so then the redfish agent is essentially deployed on the main CPU and is running in the OS. But we also came up with a combination where basically you can have a redfish agent on the BMC and one on the OS, and you can query through the one that is running on your main CPU. You can also query information that is only available to the redfish agent in the BMC. So at the moment, to give you an outlook, we are working on a mapping from redfish to OPC UA. And the use case here is that there may be some devices in your network that don't talk redfish, and that it's not foreseeable that they will be enabled to have a redfish client installed, such as HMIs, for example. So for them, a gateway in the network would be very useful, and then they could access system management information, such as, for example, the temperature of the CPUs and etc., and could display it for everybody to see. And to give you a further outlook, so in the upcoming version, we're targeting the software and firmware upgrades, which are already specified by redfish to some extent. So we're going to look at how much we can apply this to our domain. And then eventually we're also targeting orchestration.